Good evening, I'm Chief Meteorologist Alex Kirchner, the 13 Weather Authority. We are live here on our streaming app, on our website, on our Facebook page, 13WREX. I'm monitoring the comment feed, so if you got any questions about tonight's storms, definitely leave them below, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Also live from our YouTube page, so you got multiple ways to track storms with us anytime we do have severe weather. So here's tonight's update. You probably got an alert. Maybe it's on your weather radio. Maybe it's on the 13 Weather Authority app. Severe thunderstorm watch just issued by the National Weather Service about 5 minutes ago. That includes all of Stevenson, Winnebago, Ogle, and Lee counties up until 11 p.m. This is for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. Tornadoes may be possible, but the risks for that look to be a lot more likely to the west. That is why Joe Daviess, Carroll, and Whiteside counties continue to be under a tornado watch up until 9 p.m. So these spots a little more likely to see tornadoes. As you move eastward, it'd be mainly a damaging wind and hail threat. On top of all that, we also have a flood watch out for Stevenson and Greene counties, in addition to Joe Daviess, Carroll, and Whiteside counties. Multiple rounds of heavy rainfall may produce some flash flooding. We've got some warnings ongoing in Iowa right now. And with all of this, a watch is just your heads up. We've got the ingredients for severe weather. It may not be happening yet, so it's mostly just to get your attention and have you monitor the forecasts like you're doing right now. So as we look towards just the ongoing warnings, there are multiple flash flood warnings in Iowa, so that's why that flood watch is out. There is one severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Carroll and Whiteside counties, little sliver of Joe Daviess County. That is up until 8 p.m., so for the next 20 minutes, could have wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour coming with those severe thunderstorms. Hail does look to be under the severe risk. We also have any kind of rotation that we see may result in a tornado, but so far so good. Storms is looking rather linear right now, so not necessarily looking at any kind of twisting on it or rotation on it to produce a tornado. So again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts could be coming to spots like Lanark and Morrison. Lanark, you're looking at about 8 minutes away from that severe thunderstorm arriving. If this holds together at severe strength, it would be getting into spots like Oregon at about 8:18, wouldn't arrive in Winnebago and Rockford until closer to 8:30. And again, that is if that warning is able to hold together. Melissa's wondering here, anything for Belvedere? Belvedere, no watches are in effect. In general, what we're expecting to see these storms do is weaken as they move eastward. That said, they're still holding together decently. That's why there's still that severe thunderstorm warning in mainly Carroll and Whiteside counties. You can see up and down this line of thunderstorms, lots of lightning, gusty winds, downpours likely with all of this. So we, again, are expecting to see this weaken as it works its way to I-39. That's why DeKalb as well as Boone counties aren't under the watch. That said, while this is still holding together, there are still maybe some severe winds that come with these thunderstorms as they work their way eastward. That's why the watch got issued for the center of our viewing area. So in general here, you're looking at Sterling at about 8:05, Oregon at about 8:30, Byron close to 8:40, probably about 8:45, 8:50 for Winnebago, 8:55 for Rockford. Beloit and DeKalb, we won't see these storms until after 9 p.m. So that's the general timing on the squall line as it comes through. And again, it could weaken on its way down. Even though it's weakening, gusty winds, heavy rainfall, possibly some sporadic flash flooding remain threats. So it's not like we're out of the woods, but we're not expecting to see widespread severe weather necessarily as it works its way along to the east. So you can see that reflected here on Future Trek. In general, we see these storms approach I-39 between 9 and 10 p.m. And you notice it's not looking quite as intense on Future Trek. Now, Future Trek isn't exactly lined up with the line of severe thunderstorm warnings and the strong thunderstorms that we do see out there, so don't take this as gospel, but you can kind of pick up on the general trends here. Things look to weaken as they work their way eastward, so the hope is that we see some of that severe weather threat die down pretty quickly, but I think that's why the National Weather Service issued that watch. Because this is all holding together decently right now, can't rule out a stray thunderstorm or two that brings damaging winds and large hail. That's why that watch got issued for spots like Freeport, Oregon, Rochelle, Winnebago, Rockford, Dixon. You know, you're under the watch because we still have at least some strength of those thunderstorms before they continue to move along to the east. So that's kind of the general outlook as we see things right now. In addition to the severe thunderstorm watch, we have a tornado watch for those counties right along the Iowa line, and then we have to watch out for any kind of sporadic flash flooding as we go throughout the rest of tonight. So here's the current warnings as we do see them right now. So let's kind of continue to scroll down through here. Amanda's wondering anything for Mount Morris. So you're under a severe thunderstorm watch right now, looking for storms coming in later tonight. Got Kim wondering about Winnebago. I would think the timing is roughly about between 8:30 to 8:50, so kind of about an hour from right now is when those storms may get to you. Tim's mentioning, I hope it weakens for those warnings, and I hope so too. I hope I don't see too many warnings as this moves along. Now, the environment was tons better in Iowa, but they had multiple tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flooding. The environment gets a little more hostile as it gets into northern Illinois, so I'm expecting to see these storms not be on the high end of severe. We're not necessarily going to see them widespread, so I hope that continues to keep going through the rest of the night. Tim's wondering, could there be power outages? If we see them, they'd be pretty isolated. So these storms have the ability to knock down some tree branches, so that may knock out, a power line or two. I don't see this blasting through the area and causing widespread power outages. It would be very, very sporadic if we do see anything. Don's wondering about the DeKalb area as well as Poplar Grove and Garden Prairie. So Boone County and DeKalb County, no watches out for you. So you're not likely to get severe weather as a result because you're just kind of sitting on the outside of that little corridor where we're expecting to see maybe a sporadic severe storm or two. So as you work your way east of I-39, so we're talking Cherry Valley, we're talking Belvedere, we're talking DeKalb, we're talking Poplar Grove. You'll get some strong storms after 9 p.m., some downpours, some gusty winds, but that should be about it. Carissa's wondering about Amboy. Amboy, yes, you are under the watch as of right now. So we'll kind of go backwards here for anybody that's just jumping onto the live feed. So you are under, if you can see your county highlighted here. So Stevenson, Winnebago, Ogle, Lee counties, you're under a severe thunderstorm watch, potentially seeing a strong to severe thunderstorm or two over the rest of the night. This is mainly for damaging winds and large hail. So that's the severe thunderstorm watch. You might have just gotten an alert as of about 10 minutes ago about that watch going into effect. If I didn't name your county and if you are not in the highlighted areas, you are not under that watch. So really, it's east of I-39. Looking at Boone County, McHenry County, and DeKalb County, also southern Wisconsin, not under any kind of severe thunderstorm watch right now. It's just that kind of I-39 corridor and then due west from there. Majority of our viewing area under the watch. You get east of I-39, not under that severe thunderstorm watch. Then, as we look farther to the west, Joe Davies, Carroll, Whiteside counties, you're under a tornado watch until 9 p.m. This is the more likely area for any kind of rotation. So far, so good. We'll keep our fingers crossed here. Not looking at any kind of tornado warnings out currently, just one severe thunderstorm warning. And then we're watching all of the rain. So these storms have been moving along pretty quickly. Fingers crossed and hoping for no flash flood warnings, but that is why the watch is out. There could be some sporadic flash flooding in some of the green highlighted areas. So that would be Greene County, Stevenson County, Joe Davies, Carroll, and Whiteside counties. You're all under that flood watch until late tonight because of the downpours causing potentially some flash flooding. So the hope here is that they continue to weaken along and don't drop too much rain, but that is why that watch is out. Current warning would be for Carroll and Whiteside counties up until 8 p.m. So you've got another 13 minutes here in Carroll and Whiteside counties with this severe thunderstorm. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's enough to knock down some tree branches, cause some damage. We want you away from the roof level as that slides through. I'm going to update the track on this particular severe thunderstorm. Keep in mind, again, the warning is possibly just expired, in fact. Yes, it looks like it dropped the warning. The National Weather Service canceled that warning early. So that is some good news. We no longer have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for our backyard. So late breaking information here live on our streaming pages as well as YouTube and Facebook. So updated timing on this line of strong thunderstorm activity wouldn't get into Freeport until 8:05, so got about 15 minutes there. And again, this is a strong thunderstorm, so downpours, lightning, gusty winds, nothing severe as that has weakened below severe limits. You're looking at Oregon and Byron, roughly 8:20, 8:25 for Winnebago, about 8:35 for Rockford. Wouldn't get to Beloit and Belvedere until closer to 8:50 if that is able to hold together. But it's already weakened a little early, so that's some good news there. And in general, we are expecting to see a quick little line of heavy rain, some lightning, some gusty winds with this, and these storms do lose energy as they work their way eastward. So the hope is that they continue on that trend where they kind of die off as they work their way closer to the I-39 corridor. So again, you can kind of see some of the general timing here. I'll read it off for you. Sterling at about 8:05. We mentioned Freeport at about 8:15. Oregon at about 8:30. Byron at 8:40. And then not getting into Beloit and DeKalb until after about 9 p.m. And that timing is actually maybe just a little old. So why don't I go ahead and refresh that just a little bit. We'll keep up with the squall line and give you the very latest track on that. So updated timing would have, it really didn't change that much. 8 p.m. for Lena, Freeport at about 8:15. You're looking at 8:30 in Oregon, 8:50 for Rochelle and Rockford, and then DeKalb, Sycamore, not looking at anything until about 9:15, 9:20. Karen's wondering here, how bad are the winds? Should I take down my patio umbrella? I would, they're gusty winds. So they're up to maybe 40, 50 miles per hour on the high end. We're seeing severe gusts up to 60. Those patio umbrellas don't really hold up well to strong winds, unfortunately. So I'd say bring it in. If you got time, take it down. Make sure you secure that because you don't want it blowing over because those winds are going to be on the strong end. So that would definitely send some patio umbrellas tumbling here as this line of thunderstorm activity coming on through. Let's see, scrolling on through here. Any other questions? Barbara's wondering, tornado possible for Rockford? Not at this point. It would just be some isolated severe wind gusts, some downpours, as well as some lightning threats. So thank goodness we don't see any kind of tornado threat as this works its way eastward. It looks like that tornado threat is in general dying off. So that is some good news there. If we are watching out for tornadoes, I will point this out. We'll get into a little radar meteorology here. Put a pause on the radar and kind of show you the one spot I would have some concerns about, and I'm keeping an eye on, is you see how this end of the storm kind of curls in on itself, looks like a little comma. That is where we are getting some rotation. Everything else, and a lot of the timing I was reading off to you, that's kind of just more of a general quick little squall line, just a wall of wind and rain coming through. But we've got this little curly Q on the top end of that squall line. So that's where we could get some possible rotation out of this. That is looking a lot weaker than it did, say, half an hour to an hour ago. So that is some good news. I'm not necessarily seeing anything that catches my eye or really concerns me about this. But when you've got winds moving towards and away from the radar, so that's what the reds and greens mean. If we can get those to meet and kind of curl in on themselves or look very bright, that's where I start to get concerned on all of this. So you can kind of see how we've got some of that mixing going on as that top end of the squall line shows some signs of rotation. I'll kind of back up the loop here, and you can see that, again, we've got some reds and greens kind of mixing there. That's what we call a bookend vortice, and Currently, it's not looking as strong as it did, like I said, about an hour ago. But I'm watching Joe Daviess County closely here as that vortice comes through. And remember that Joe Daviess County is under the tornado watch. No active warnings, but most likely areas to get at least some weak rotation would be across Joe Daviess County. So that's, when it comes to tornado threats, that's the spot I'm watching closely. Is what caught my eye was that curlicue kind of popping up on radar. As a result, watching that area. But I think in general, most of us are just looking at a severe wind threat if that comes to pass. But like I mentioned, no active warnings out right now. We did see those expire a little early a few minutes ago. So we'll watch this closely here. I'll keep an eye on some of the questions and comments. Otherwise, we may slowly see this die down through this evening. Wanted to at least give you a heads up. This is why we've got the watch. This is why you're getting alerts on your phone. This is the current radar situation. If I do see any other warnings, I'll get you up to speed. I'll definitely shout you out and let you know what's coming through. But thankfully, we'll hopefully stay on this radar trend here where we'll get some strong storms, but nothing necessarily widespread or severe. So scrolling through here. Karen mentioning it's great to watch this and not be anxious. Yeah, that's kind of what we're here for, is to help settle some things down. If you get that alert on your phone, you're probably thinking, or your weather radio or the TV is starting to blare, and you're like, what is going on? And that's why we try to jump on our streaming platforms as quickly as possible and get you up to speed as to just what's going on to kind of help settle some of those nerves down when it comes to any kind of severe weather threats coming through. So, all right, I'm not seeing too many. Tim's wondering here, any hail with these storms? Not seeing a ton of hail threat right now. I think it's mostly just been a wind threat, but you know what? I'm going to pull up, once I was able to find it here, our hail tracker. And give it a minute for the data to populate here, but I would not be surprised if we don't see much pop up on the map. It might be a little hard to see, but you can see these little areas of gray kind of developing in Iowa. Some small hail in that direction, but that has really dropped off as these storms work eastward. So I can't even report any kind of small hail with this. So really, it's wind, rain, lightning. Those are the threats that we kind of see as these storms work their way eastward. So not really seeing much of a hail threat, which is definitely some good news if you're concerned about hail. Linnell chiming in from Elizabeth, definitely a frequent contributor here, so thanks Linnell for that. Getting some pretty good storms right now, so appreciate that heads up from Elizabeth. Let's get you back over to radar and kind of show everybody just about where Elizabeth is, in case you don't know or just want to see that live little update here. So hopefully we can get it to pop up on the map. Elizabeth is right there, right underneath kind of the center of that vortice that's working through. Thankfully, again, I'm not looking at any kind of signs of severe weather. Stockton getting some heavy rain as well as some lightning. So that's what's ongoing in Joe Daviess County. Thankfully, we're not seeing too many other indications of severe weather, so still looks to be some strong storms sliding through. We're kind of go north to south here then as these storms move along. So Lena, Pearl City, you're about to get, well, Pearl City's right about into that line of stronger winds, as well as some heavy rain and lightning. Lena, you're up next. Freeport, give it about 10 to 15 minutes. Milledgeville, right underneath some of the strong storms. So Forest and Polo, again, about 10 to 15 minutes, and those storms will be near you. Right about on top of Sterling right now, should be into Dixon and Amboy within the next half an hour. And I'm still seeing some signs of weakening with this, and how you can kind of tell is, number one, not as many red colors developing. It's just a lot more of orange and yellow. So really the angrier the radar looks, the stronger those thunderstorms are in general terms. We also watch for the lightning. When we see lots of that popping up, and it seems to be kind of blasting every second or multiple strikes per second, that is a sign of some very strong thunderstorm activity. Once they start to peter out, You can see how they look a little more sporadic, not looking at, a whole mass of lightning coming through. Another sign that those storms are starting to die off a little bit because we're just not looking at the lightning count going up. In fact, it's trending in the other direction. So that is where we kind of stand right now with these storms. Again, no active warnings, so that is some good news. Let's hope it stays that way. If you're just jumping on with us currently, we will give you an updated timing here as these storms slide through. So updated timing on this. Be ready for some gusty winds, some lightning, some quick downpours into Dixon at about 8:15, Oregon 8:25, 8:35 for Winnebago, closer to 8:50 for Rockford, and then about 9 o'clock or so for DeKalb, Sycamore, and Belvedere. I would think the storms may be into Beloit, if anything, closer to about 8:45, 8:50. Let's see. Karen's mentioning some thunder in Freeport. Natasha's wondering how strong are the wind gusts by the time they get to the Rockford area. Roughly 40 miles per hour. I would think if these storms kind of continue to trend in the direction they are, about 40, maybe 50 on the high end, but should be below severe limits. That's kind of where we stand with that right now as these move along. But that's enough to, blow some objects around in your backyard. So if there's anything that could blow over or topple over or that kind of thing, you might want to try to drag it into the garage quickly. So we're talking about those common ones, patio umbrella, your patio table, that kind of thing. If they can blow over to some strong winds, you may want to secure it while you got some time. So far, so good. Looks like Lee and Ogle counties, again, gusts up to about 50 miles per hour through about 8:15. So far, so good. No severe wind gusts, but they are going to be strong as they work their way into Lee and Ogle counties. And again, it'd be spots like Forest and Polo, Dixon. You're looking at about 10 to 15 minutes from right now as those strong winds approach the area. And I'm just kind of looking through any kind of updates from the National Weather Service. So far, they're not issuing any warnings anytime soon. Jennifer's wondering here, after this round, any more storms into the morning? I got Future Track lined up right after this, so let's get over to that. What we'll see is these thunderstorms maybe lagging a little bit behind the current line, but as you can see, we get these storms to come through. They may last as late as about 10 p.m. midnight. Then deep into the night, the main area of storms is gone, but you can see how we kind of get a little more development into tomorrow morning, but not really necessarily stormy. It would be showers, maybe an isolated storm or two. A lot of that is done by sunrise, though. So here we are on Future Track at about 5:30 in the morning. The rain is exiting pretty quickly. So if you're thinking about tomorrow morning, got some plans before you get up, that kind of thing, a lot of that rain should be out of our area. And most of tomorrow, I've got a dry forecast with mainly sunny conditions. So not much for storms in the morning. Linnell chiming in for Joe Davies County. I'll have to check on this here. Mentioned so far so good, no street flooding, but a lot of the rivers and things running high. By the way, anybody that's just hopping on, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch out for Stevenson, Winnebago, Ogle, and Lee counties up until 11 p.m. This is for potential for severe weather, but so far no active warnings out right now. We do have a tornado watch out until 9 p.m. for Joe Davies, Carroll, and Whiteside counties. Again, no severe warnings for you currently, so that is some good news. As we look towards the flood watch, this is for Joe Davies, Stevenson, Carroll, Whiteside, and Greene counties. So far, so good. No active flash flooding, but that's what the watch is out for. Just in case we see enough downpour action to cause some flooding. Wanted to at least kind of get your heads up, make you aware that we do see those coming through. But as you can see, a lot of the flash flooding looks to be more on the Iowa to far southwest Wisconsin end. No active warnings for us. Severe thunderstorms canceled early into Carroll and Whiteside counties, so that is some good news. We will erase that off the map. Don't have to worry about that too much. I'm going to just check to see if we do have any other kind of bulletins to pass along, but it does look like any kind of flood warnings will be more for the rivers like the Mississippi River and not necessarily anything area-wide where you're looking at any kind of ongoing flash flooding. So that is some good news. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning has expired, so that's why we jumped on to update you about that. That line of severe activity looks to be about done for Carroll, Whiteside, and Joe Daviess counties. It's moving into Freeport right now. Not a ton of lightning with it, with some downpours and some gusty winds. Forest and Polo and Dixon also on the way. Winds would be up to about 50 miles per hour, so that is enough to, knock some twigs and small branches down, be enough to knock over some patio furniture and things, so be ready for some of those strong winds taking looking at a bit of a punch, kind of working through, but not necessarily anything severe. So that is some good news there. As we set the radar back in motion, you can see that there's going to be plenty of rain behind that. So we get that initial hit of stronger winds, lightning, downpours, and then things just kind of get lightly rainy behind that line of thunderstorm activity. And again, thankfully, not looking at any kind of active warnings. We will continue to watch these storms pretty closely here. Be ready for some gusty winds to come through with all of this, as well as some downpours and things. So we're going to wrap up our coverage for right now. If we do see any other alerts or warnings, we'll definitely jump on and update you as we do see them accordingly. So I guess just one last little message again. This line of thunderstorms is going to bring some strong winds with it. So just be ready for that. Downpours, lightning, you hear thunder, get inside as quickly as possible. No active severe thunderstorm warnings, but you're going to want to be aware of those strong winds as that comes through our backyard. So again, this will kind of sweep through between now and about 9:30, and then we should be done with all of that. So again, if we do see any active warnings or new warnings, I will jump back on and let you know. Otherwise, hunker down with those winds coming through, and then tune in tonight at 10 o'clock. We've got some potential rain to track for the holidays, so I'll have that coming up tonight on 13 News at 10. Thanks for joining us here, staying safe and up to speed on these storms, and we'll see you the next time some storms come through. We'll also see you tonight for 13 News at 10. Have a great rest of your night.